All right, me timers. I have a special guest today. I'm so excited. So Bianca is here, and I don't want to mispronounce. It's Obsidian Corona.
Yes,
Okay.
like the rock and like the beer.
Okay. And she is on today. I'm going to let her introduce herself because I don't want to take away from the thunder. But let me tell you something. Listening today, y'all need to come on through with an open mind because we're going to take it there. So, Bianca, go ahead and introduce yourself to the Me Timers.
So, hi, I'm Bianca, the Obsidian Corona. I go by many names, but I'm kind of playing around with the title of Esoteric Advisor because I use a lot of different techniques, mainly cards like tarot, that are considered secret practices, right? Esotericism usually is associated with secret practices and and advisor. Well, I mean, I give people advice. I mean, to put it simply, I just use various spiritual tools and techniques to give people practical, actionable advice.
Practical, actionable advice, y'all. That's what we can all use some of that. So it's going to be a very interesting show today because you have to approach this with an open mind. I know that some may hear the word tarot and be like, "Oh, I can't listen to this." Right?
Yeah.
But no, we're not doing that today. We're going to open some minds and just talk about the many different ways that anyone can approach their self-love journey, filling their cup, guiding their lives. And Bianca is going to set us straight today. So before I get started, I always like to start and ask about mental victory vibes celebration. And that's something that you've done for yourself, how you pour into your cup to help you do what you do. So what have you done for yourself either this week or in the last couple of days?
The past couple of days, mostly participating in fellowship because that's something that I've been seeking to just be out with people aside from doing readings at markets and stuff like that. So my boyfriend and I have been going to a lot of concerts lately. I'm into that gothic life, so we actually saw this really wonderful tribute band, Love Song, the Cure tribute. You gotta see the whole thing because apparently there is a Christian rock band also called Love Song, but they were absolutely fantastic. So just going out, being more social outside of telling people what to do with their lives and making them cry with cards.
She went there. She said, aside from telling people what to do with their lives and making them cry with cards. I love it.
Yeah. I actually had a market this Sunday. And I had a crier, so I just like whipped out the little pack of Kleenex. We had a group hug. It was like her and her friend, and we just had like little swaddle.
Oh, I'm telling you, I met Bianca at Black Girls in the Woods, the first event in January. Her table was across from mine, and I mean her energy and just that sense of calm. Because Renee is sometimes scattered. And her energy is all over the place. Like even right now, just doing the interview, your sense of calm, your energy came through. So it says, Renee, you can calm down right now. You can kind of chill out a little bit. So I appreciate
We're just talking. We're just talking.
Sometimes my mind, though, and everything that's going on, sometimes I multitask just a little too much.
So do I. I mean, like I have like 5 different calendars, 6 different emails. I'm part of my local NAACP, so like keeping track of events and who I need to email and forward this and that to trainings within that, as well as like witchy woo-woo business groups that I'm in. Just I have so many notifications that I have to turn off and just make a point to like, okay, I'm gonna check in now and then I'm gonna like pop back out. It's a lot.
Yeah, I've been really trying to do that, especially this week. Last week was so chaotic for me that by the end of the week, I was so stressed that I was fatigued. Didn't want to move, just fatigue to the point where I thought, okay, I feel okay. I'm just really, really tired. And I was carrying so much stress and I had to be accountable to myself. By saying, hey, one thing at a time, rearrange my schedule. I had to be more flexible. So that really rings true with me, what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, checking in with your body, I make a point to be extra hydrated. Sometimes I fall off that, but one thing that helps is, you know how people have like these like giant like water jugs that have like the time, or like they'll have like motivational like, you got it, you're doing it, blah, blah, blah. My mom loves like crystal like glasses and decanters and stuff, so I've just like pilfered whatever decanters, and just like I have like that, like a regular water bottle, and then like another glass decanter, and I have them filled with water. So I try to like load them all up. I don't know how many ounces or whatever that I'm like that I have in there. It's probably like 3 like average water bottle sizes, whatever that is, like 12 ounces or something. So I can like visually see that you know, I've drank all my water, and it's just like it's just a nice experience. You have to like make it like extra like pleasurable, whether it's just like visually appealing or like a sensory thing, something like that, you know.
Yes, I totally agree. It's a process for real. I think that I'm learning that more and more as it becomes my lifestyle. You know, it is a lifestyle, it is a practice, it is a journey, and sometimes we fall off, but we got to get back up and we got to just keep trying. So I want to
discipline for sure is one of the skills that I'm still honing. You know, every day, honing it.
Yes, I can relate to that. My brain is like, see, another one to add to your checklist. My brain is mentally checking the boxes right now. So I want to hop right in. And could you explain, Taro, you mentioned it a couple times, telling people what to do ahead of crier. Explain the process, explain what you do to us in kindergarten language for folks in the back that's just totally opposed, but for the people in the front row that's just totally gassed up in a way that we can just like, oh wow, we can have our own aha moment.
Okay, so how I often explain it is like, you may have seen inkblot tests. It's named after Rorschach, like this guy Rorschach. There's actually a comic book character. Anyway, that's a side note. Anyway, there's a comic character. His mask, it looks like an inkblot test. It's just check that out later. Watchmen. Anyway, not related, but like the actual inkblot test is generally used to like the client would be the one who would interpret images, and then you'd like kind of get a sense of like where their headspace is at based on what they see in the cards, right? So when I do a reading for someone, especially if it's face-to-face or even just like video chat like this, it is something more collaborative. A lot of times people come to me and other readers and other practitioners, whether they use crystal balls, that is a thing. It's not for me, but it is a thing, and other different tools and techniques, and they want to be told what to do. And my whole thing is trying to get people to to figure out what decisions would be like best to lean towards and which ones to avoid. So with tarot, there's so many different types of images and iconography that some of them, they have spiritual meaning, like there's ties to Hebrew mysticism, the Kabbalah, especially in more traditional decks like the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, and a lot of decks that are based on that. There are some that have kind of expanded onto their own different art and iconography that have like changed things up. So there are some decks that have added or shrunken down the number of cards. It's like it's standard. It's 78 card deck more often than not. But the major arcana, like cards like you might see images of in movies, like the Death card. If you watch Carmen and Hip Opera, you've seen the Death card, or at least you know a variation of it. And death, a lot of people are afraid of us being like, you'll die in 7 days or something crazy like that. But usually a lot of these cards kind of give you like a broader scope of like, okay, the death card comes up, it usually represents rebirth or needing to let something die in your life. Not necessarily that you or someone that you know is going to die. Sometimes it can mean that, depending on the context. But more often than not, it's more about a spiritual death or an ego death, or just the death of a habit in terms of developing discipline. Going back to that, the Emperor is usually associated with structure, because you see like a man on a throne, and he's got it all together, he's organized, he's got his kingdom in order, things like that. The High Priestess is kind of what I want to embody energetically. There's a lot of moon iconography, 2 pillars, and a lot of depictions. There's like more symbolism into what those pillars are, but essentially the High Priestesses in just a general sense of like what their role is. They facilitate spiritual healing, guidance, and ceremony for others. So that's kind of what I hope to do for my clients.
So you said a term a few times, iconography.
Oh, iconography.
Iconography. Can
Yes.
you define that for some of us that just don't know what that
Sorry.
means?
So iconography, icon, like an icon is an image. So for example, let's take it to playing cards, right? So just basic playing cards, they have the pips, which are the diamonds, like the suits, right? Like the diamonds, the spades, clubs, and hearts and stuff. So that would be like, an icon, a symbol, or even like a logo, for example, is considered iconography.
It makes me laugh just a little bit because I can hear folks that play spades, and they hear iconography, and they're going to use that the next time they're playing the game, and they put that card on their forehead like this.
And
I've
never played spades. My family's Jamaican, so like we would play like pass around donkey, or in some circles it's called jackass, dominoes. But I've never played spades. So I see all these memes about like, oh, your black card's revoked if, and I'm like, well,
mine would be revoked too, because I don't play well.
Yeah, like my family, both my parents were not born here. We were not, like, I was raised here, but not, within the Black community at large, I want to say. So I'm just, it's only in my adult years that I've been like hearing about spades.
Okay.
So, and I still have yet to play. So if you want to teach me, I'm down to learn.
You don't want me to teach you.
Okay, if you want to like direct me to a teacher, I would love to. I like to play games.
Yes.
I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Poorly. Like the rules in the show and the rules in the actual game like never matched up. But like I do have Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards still. And I want to like just master all the card games and just become the king of games. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference. Because I work with cards just within my profession, so I might as well like learn all the card games,
Well, y'all heard it here. She said, if someone willing to teach her to play spades, it cannot be me, because all I hear is my brother-in-law in the back like, sis, don't sit there and act like you know what you're doing, because I know you don't.
Yeah, my boyfriend's trying to teach me one of the poker games. One of the poker games. We played a couple times. It's not blackjack. Someone tried to teach me how to play blackjack like years ago when I was a kid, but like that was like a singular event.
Okay. And so when someone is at the table with you, and what type of experience does the reading create? Is it an experience that is really guided by the participant, or is it an experience that's guided by you or the participant?
It's both. It is both, depending on how they interact, because aside from my personal practice, I've also worked on the hotlines, call now, get 3 minutes free, different websites, chat lines, whatever.
Wait a minute. You've worked on us. The hotline says for $8.99 a minute?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fun fact, fun fact, not so fun fact. So like if they're charging like $8.99 a minute, they're not just trying to scam you. Like people have to get paid, and the people who are actually providing the readings get generally the least amount of it. Like we get like maybe, like when it was good a few years back when I had just started, like we were getting like 40%. Now it's gone down like by like anywhere from like 6 to 10% less than that. You know, so it really varies. So if you go on these like websites and hotlines and you have people like on there for like $10.99 a minute or something like that, it's because they're trying to break even and they're not getting paid enough by these platforms.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I never.
Yeah, a lot of people
assume
that we're out here trying to scam people. It's like, no, we're not taking all of that money that you're paying us. Like it's like, especially if it's on an app, because some of the money like per transaction has to go through like Apple Pay and or like the App Store for Apple and like Google Pay, you know, for like hosting and like processing transactions and stuff like that. If they work with payment processors like PayPal, Payoneer, what have you, like there's like a transaction fee like whenever we have to get like our money out. So there's a lot that people don't like, a lot of costs involved. We don't get all of that money. We deserve all of that money, but we do not get all of that money. I don't know where that accent came from. Sorry.
You're making it very clear. It's like, just please don't mistake it now. Let me just fix this. Let's just make sure it's very clear. And you know what? I didn't even know that. But it makes sense now. A lot of
people don't, and I'll see like YouTubers who will, you know, they'll like get a reading from someone, whether it's like tarot, psychic reading, palmistry, you know, insert whatever practice here, handwriting analysis I've seen, and they'll, you know, compare what people pick up and stuff like that. And, you know, some people are just like, this is ridiculous. Like, oh my God, these people are charging so much to look at hands, to look at, you know, whatever. But it's like, no, like it takes time for us to look at what, like the information that you're presenting us, whether it's like you telling us like, hey, I would like a reading about me and my current partner or my situationship. So many situationships, and we've been together on and off for like 3 years, and I want to know if we're gonna wind up getting married or not, you know, something like that. So like we have to like read all that, you know, use whatever tool that we have, like suss that out into like a message that is not entirely convoluted, and then like I don't want to use the term dumb it down, but like simplify it, just to simplify it for like laymen who are
kindergarten terms. Talk to me in kindergarten or pre-K language.
So that it like, because a lot of times people assume that we're out there to like mystify and confuse, and there are some people who are scammers who do that, who just use like airy fairy terms, and then there's like all of the like the people who are like ripping people off with like fake spells, and I say fake because I do believe in magic. Okay, I don't offer those services, but yeah, like a lot of these like platforms and stuff like that, they like outright will say, we cannot, as advisors, we cannot offer spells, healing, things like that, because a lot of times we cannot provide anything tangible. And whether or not we actually did the work, because there are some people who do like forms of remote healing, like Reiki and other kinds of energy work, like that is their practice, and they do have like a private practice where they do that, and they facilitate workshops and stuff like that. There may be people who are like either due to misunderstanding or of like, you know, they think that they have to get something. A la Eve's Bayou, like it just made me think of like Eve's Bayou, where like she like gave her like you gave me $5, like you gave me $5, and she's like, no, but I thought I had to do something. It's like, it's either like that kind of thing where they feel like they have to have a thing, or you know, something like that where either there's like a misunderstanding that they feel like they have to have something, I'm like repeating myself, sorry, or they just want to scam people out of their money and get refunded. So like it's like costing these hosting platforms like money. And then even for those of us who have private practices like me, we have to be very careful about like what kind of services we offer, depending on the platform that we like host our websites on, you know, like GoDaddy, whatever. If we're offering any kind of like spiritual services or goods, if you see someone that says like, oh, like this is not to cure, diagnose, or whatever, because we legally have to say that. We have to specify that. Because a lot of people, they will come to us and they have healthy doubts about the medical system and things like that. And they will not use services and tools that we offer in conjunction with medical care. They will use it as a substitute. And yeah, so the example that I use is, you know, like if I tell someone to drink more water, right? I could be like, okay, make sure to stay hydrated. And someone could just go to the extreme and then like drink like gallons and gallons and gallons of water and then die of alcohol poisoning, of water poisoning from too much water. That's a thing, people. So like,
you try to steer clear of all that.
Yeah, like
what made you get into this work? What drew you to this purpose and this work?
There's a lot of things. So I got into like the more like spiritual side of things because I had like an interest in like herbal remedies due to the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo. Like I have a Hex Girls inspired like eyeshadow palette like right next to me right now. But like part of the influence was that because one of the characters, she like actually was like she was like, oh, I'm a Wiccan, like 1/16 on my grandmother's side, and it's just like it's not a bloodline trait, that is a spiritual practice for sure. But like she like did herbal remedies to like help with her voice because she was a singer, and just any sort of depiction of like a healer, medicine woman type character that like, you know, played around with herbs. So I would be like, you know, making little like leaf and stick potions and things like that. And I was like always drawn to juniper, and it's like, oh wow, like turns out that's actually used in a couple of things and for luck and what have you. Years later, in like high school, I had a friend who would do readings for me. She also could see auras. Like it was around the time that the last Mimsy came out, and like there was like this huge discussion around indigo children, which are like often like people who are believed to be able to see auric fields and like, you know, the color of people's auras and stuff like that. But I didn't start reading for myself until college. It was around the time that American Horror Story Coven came out, and at the time the way I dressed was apparently similar to how Angela Bassett's character of Marie Laveau was styled. So people were like, oh, you look like Marie Laveau, and I'm like, who is that? Did a little googly goo, found her, loved it. I loved, you know, what I saw of her, and I saw like some behind the scenes stuff, wound up like researching about like Marie Laveau, the actual person, and then like various like African spiritual traditions. Then I started reading with Spanish playing cards first, because I was still in the room closet, and that was like a little bit easier to explain away because they look like regular playing cards, only the suits are slightly different. Like there's a bastos, which are basically clubs, like they look like wooden clubs rather than like the little like three circular like thing. Instead of hearts, it's cups. They look like chalices, like holy chalices. Spades are swords, like literal like curved scimitar type swords.
Wow.
And diamonds would be coins, like gold coins. So I started reading with those, and I was reading for myself, and I would I don't have the notebook next to me, but I would record, you know, like what the meanings were, and then you know, I would like practice with different spreads that I would find on Tumblr and various other websites like Betty Tarot and Santero Santero Brujo Luis. He had his own website, and I would like compare like the meetings with those, and then I'd practice with friends via Facebook chat, after classes, and then eventually I wound up getting my main working deck, the Angel Tarot. Fun fact, the artist Steve Roberts, I believe, is, at least at the time that this was published, was from Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have like the guidebook here. An internationally acclaimed fantasy artist whose company Fantasy Graphics is based in Florida. So Florida-based deck. I also managed to get my hands on, from the same person I bought this from, the Dolly Tarot, and it was like either a first or second edition. At the time, it wasn't being reprinted, so I managed to find it for like under like for like $120, where like max I would see like a couple hundred. So it was like really big deal. And I try to find decks from local people. I just realized how many decks I have that are like that. Most of my decks are actually, if they're not for my friends, they're actually flirting artists. Like I just got this deck, Tarot in the Neon Light, by Chain Assembly. They're a local artist, and I actually met them at the Punk Rock Flea Market at Daddy Cool in St. Pete at the Factory. So they were there. They have a couple of decks that they've published, as well as a book that they published on how to self-publish your own tarot decks via things like Kickstarter and things like that. So I just flipped through it the other day, and like it has this beautiful magnetic closure. The cards are gorgeous. This is like a deck for like if you're familiar with tarot, like if you're familiar with the suits. Like this is the 10 of Cups. So like if you're familiar with the traditional iconography, and oh my gosh, it's so blown out. I have to there we go. This deck is not the deck to show with this like blurred background. Oh my god. But it even has like slight purplish inky black gilding. So I'm excited to play with this a little bit more.
Now, I know when we talked before, you mentioned that you had a deck that was done by an African-American artist too, right?
Yes. The Dust to Onyx Tarot. And this was also another crowd-funded deck that my cousin gifted me. My cousin got this deck initially, but they didn't really bond with it. But this is the Dust to Onyx Tarot. So it's spelled like dust, and then like the two eyes, like Boys to Men, to Onyx. So like DTO, or gosh, it's weird. So
wow.
Onyx Tarot. And it's got the little, like this huge box. Oof. So it says Dust to Onyx, a melanated tarot deck.
Wow.
Yeah. And now, thank God, they have like a travel-sized version of it. So it's like, because the deck itself is huge. This is the guidebook. Most guidebooks, and this is called the Vade Mecum. Most guidebooks are like this big, okay? If they come
That's huge.
Yeah, and it has like a foreword by Mambo Elizabeth Ruth, another practitioner that I highly recommended and admire. Courtney Alexander, she is a Florida-based artist. She is a USF alum, if I recall correctly.
USF, okay.
And this was published by Black and Sage in Tampa.
Wow. Wait, in Tampa?
In Tampa. I'm looking at the copyright information right here. It was published in Tampa. So it's local. It is local. Okay. And the cards are huge. They're like standard Oracle deck size. So this is like the, I guess, like cover insert card. One thing that I also love is that they have a black, like a solid black card that's almost like a mirror, just like glossy black. But she made this deck, this beautiful gold gilding on the edges.
Yeah.
She made this deck. It started out as like a multimedia project. So a lot of these were actual like paintings that she did. with like mixed media as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of texture. There is some shimmer, like you can kind of see on this deck here, and you can feel it. This one is the Nine of Gourds. So um, with traditional tarot, so like gourds is this deck's version of cups, and then staffs is wands, swords is blades, and then you'll just look at the body makeup here. And then earth is coins. And instead of the king, it's papa, the queen is mama. So like traditional playing cards, it's like king, queen, and then jack. So with tarot, it's usually king, queen, knight, and page.
Okay.
So there's mama's a queen, papa's king. They have young, not spelled like young jock, like Y-U-N-G, but like Y-O-U-N-G. And that's the knight. And then Lil, like Lil Wayne and so on, is the page. So it's like Lil earth, Lil fire, Lil air, Lil water, you know, stuff like that.
Wow.
So, and you can see like bigger prints of the,
The artistry is fantastic.
yes.
Wow.
So we have the Moor, which would traditionally be the, I want to say the, I can't remember what it traditionally is, but Grace Jones has like 2 appearances in the Major Arcana.
That is Grace Jones too. Oh wow, you can see it.
Yeah, with the yep.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it being a starter deck, especially if you are not familiar with more traditional tarot iconography. Definitely get your hands on it for the culture. And get into it a little later. I'm planning on working with this more this year. Because I've mostly been doing readings for a lot of events, and most of the events are not, you know, FUBU. So, you know,
She said boo boo.
You know. So, like, I've just been debating whether or not I want to like use this as more of like a personal deck, or if I just want to do it for more, put it out for more events. So, still.
When you're working with someone, when someone sits down at your table to work with you, and I know that this is a purpose for you. This is something that you do full time and that you're fully committed to. When they walk away from your table, what do you like for them to take with them? A better outlook, or is it that it's possible? What outlook are you hoping that each individual takes with them generally, a general outlook, not specific to whatever they're asking or whatever their need is, but just a general outlook?
Well, I mean, basically what you just said. Part of why Obsidian is in my name is people have said before I even chose this business name, people have said that they would come away feeling like calm and grounded, and you know that I have a soothing presence, kind of like you said. And obsidian is a stone that's often used for those properties, like its groundedness, stability, structure, cleansing, sometimes to kind of like neutralize any like bad, negative juju. And it's also used for like obsidian mirrors for like scrying, for more like introspective like mirror work, which is funny because we were talking about what you do. Yes. and how you incorporate.
When they sit at the table with the mirror is you. It's nothing. It's you. It's the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah. So my hope is to kind of reflect, not like reflect back what people want to hear. Like I don't want people to, when I say reflect like that, I'm just, feeding off, and like trying to like butter people up. It's not what I do.
Well, you didn't butter me up. You told me to unclutter my life.
Yeah.
You told me to get rid of some stuff. You was like, you need to declutter. You need to get rid of some stuff, girl.
Yeah.
So that wasn't buttery.
Sorry.
That was not apple butter, you know. It wasn't like that apple butter they put on those rolls. It was, hey girl, you need to go on and declutter. Take a picture of this because you need to fix it.
Even going back to Mambo Elizabeth Ruth, who did the forward in this particular edition, like this particular printing of that guidebook. One of the methods that she utilizes when it comes to like spiritual work is she coined the CPR method, which I reference all the time, which is cleanse, protect, reverse. So a lot of times people come to us and they're like, oh my God, am I cursed? Did someone put a curse on me? Oh my God. Ah. And we're just like, oh my God, calm down, please. Like, I don't know what you're doing in your life that you feel like someone wants to just like be throwing roots on you, but like, sure. And you know, pull the cards and usually it says nothing along those lines. But general rule of thumb, whether you're just feeling sluggish, whether you are like scared that someone put something on you or what, just like physically and energetically cleansing your space, because a lot of time people just, you know, be burning sage or, you know, insert herb or whatever here. Please don't burn white sage. Save it for the natives. Please use garden sage, grow your own sage. Don't use white sage. Save it for the natives. Anyway, but yes, just general rule of thumb. I gotta advocate for the peoples. I got to advocate for the peoples.
She read somebody just now. I was part of that list. She read. They're like, oh, that's what I got. A lot of folks.
Yeah, there's this whole discourse because and as an aside, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the white sage that people are using that are store bought especially has been poached from native lands that are not being protected and advocated for by our local government. So please, if you're going to use sage, use kitchen sage, use Italian seasoning as a substitute. Oh my God. But anyway, a lot of people do like smoke cleansing and, you know, like wiping down. They may not even wipe down their walls. Wipe down your walls, especially if you're using smoke. But they'll use like smoke cleansing and, you know, like do like all the spiritual woo-woo stuff. But they're not like actively like wiping down and cleaning down their spaces. It should be like in conjunction. Protection, you know, praying over your house, your space, your tools, as well as like using, you know, any sort of like protective talismans, amulets. There's a difference between them. Someone did like a really great video at some point that like talked about the difference between a talisman and an amulet. But you know, whichever one, like, you know, crosses, if you have like crosses that have been in your family or something like that, or just, you know, a vessel, good luck charm, what have you, that like, you know, put it in your space on your person, you know, cleanse your tools, protect your tools. And then reversal, you know, looking into return to sender, reversals, cut and clear rituals or working, stuff like that. That's like always a good rule of thumb, like whether you're just feeling personally sluggish, because sometimes people don't intentionally throw things at you. The evil eye is a thing, you know, and a lot of people don't necessarily realize that they have that, like envy, and so on and so forth.
Well, I have one more question I want to ask you.
Okay.
For those folks that they need a little just more education to open their minds to many different ways that people practice self-care and self-love for themselves, based on what they believe in, what would you say to those folks that's like, you messing with witchcraft, I can't do that, oh, this is so wrong, that are adamantly thinking that it is just wrong? And of course, they will probably continue to think that way.
Yeah,
however, if you wanted to offer them an opportunity to open their minds more, what would you say to them?
Familiarize yourself with the word of the Bible, because a lot of, for real, familiarize yourself with the word of the Bible. I mean, there's so many different spiritual practices within Christianity and Judaism that utilize God's names. Okay, so, you know, if depending on whatever church that you were in, you may be calling out to like El Shaddai, Jehovah Jireh, so on and so forth. All of these different names for God have meaning, and call upon like different aspects of God's relationship to you, and ask for him to be present with you in those specific particular ways. Familiarize yourself with the word, familiarize yourself with the language and the tools that are available to you, and you may see some commonalities with certain other spiritual practices, both within and outside of the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic field. Talk to people, get to know them, ask questions like Renee is doing with me right now. Don't just try to like proselytize them and like look at them with shame. Try and get some deeper perspective about their worldview, what their personal practices are, because a lot of people who are in more, I don't want to say evangelical, but like mostly you see like this in evangelical churches, they will like go on these like rampages and like get people like really fired up talking about the evils of like this group or that group, both within and outside of the church, based on legends, based on rumors, based on especially rumor trees, without like going to actually investigate and witness in every sense of the word themselves.
I love that. So if anyone wanted to learn more about what you do and to get in touch with you, what's your information? How would they get a hold of you?
So on my website, theobsidiancorona.com, you can book sessions with me. I do online as well as Zoom readings, hour sessions, half-hour sessions. I'm also available for private parties. I do have a live chat feature that is connected to my phone, so you can message or email me through there, and usually I'll get a notification about it and respond at my earliest availability, because I'm constantly running around these streets slinging cards. What else? I am on Instagram at the Obsidian Corona. I'm on Facebook, the Obsidian Corona. I think if you just search like facebook.com/the Obsidian Corona 13. And I recently joined TikTok at the Obsidian Corona 13. And I'm considering YouTube. So just, I'll post about it, throughout, be like, hey, look at me.
This has been a pleasure learning from you. I love your energy. I told you that. There's something very calming about you that I absolutely adore. And
I appreciate that.
And I'm thankful that you came on, because I want to open minds. Let's stop judging. Let's judge less and smile more, and let's open our minds to possibilities. Even if it's not yours, if it's not your thing, if it's not your jam, hey, that's fine.
But as long as you choose to like educate and inform yourself about the people around you and what their experiences and like worldviews are, rather than just like directly from the horse's mouth, whether you view it as a Trojan horse or not, like it's important to, hear exactly what people have to say.
Thank you so much. All right, me timers, you heard it here. So I will include Bianca's information in the transcript. And thank you so much. Remember, this is Me Time with Mind Escape Vibe, where it is your time to be kind to your mind. You guys have a great day. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.